Welcome back for another episode of Plant-Based Cooking with Chef Chris, the Southern Bred Chef. Today, we got something really great for you guys. We're gonna make our vegan style fish and grits. Let's get into it. Okay guys, I've already started with my grits. I'm using some nice stone ground grits. They have a little bit more of a coarse granule than the normal like quick grits or instant grits. However, you can use either for the recipe. I just prefer to have stone ground grits. So we're gonna keep that on low. While our grits are cooking, we're gonna make our vegan fish. We're gonna start out, we got some heart of palms. We've got some nori paper, which is roasted seaweed, all right? So first we're gonna break up our nori paper into our food processor. We're gonna blend the nori paper with a bit of breadcrumbs. That nori paper is gonna impart a little bit of that fishiness, that seaweed, that sea flavor that we want. You know what I mean? So that our vegan fish can give us those essence of the sea. So let's put, there we go. Got the food processor going on. So this will blend up really well. All right, yeah, there we go. We got a nice mix. The seaweed is all blended into the breadcrumbs. We're gonna add that to our bowl. Now we're gonna come back, and you can do this by hand, but I feel that you get a better texture in the food processor. We're gonna add our heart of palms to the food processor. Now you don't wanna give it no hard spin, you just wanna pulse this a little bit. So it'll be nice and flaky, like the texture of fish. All right. So now these hearts of palms, we're gonna mix them into the breadcrumb mixture. They should come together nicely. Don't want too much breadcrumbs because you want to have that good heart of palm texture and flavor to go on in there. All right, so now we're gonna form it into our fish fillets. I prefer to make them a thinner fish fillet just because you get a nice frying and it'll crispen up nicely for you. You can just shape them, kind of elongate it so it gives you the feeling of some fish. All right. Then we're going to take that and we're going to add that to our seasoned cornmeal. It's seasoned cornmeal because you want that southern style fish fried up. So we want to put a little bit of that seasoned cornmeal on them. And they hold their breadcrumbs just to bind everything together. Just a tad. Alrighty. Season up with my with my cornmeal. Just like you do southern style fish at the house, baby. Now we got our pan right here. We're gonna fry this fish. You don't have to deep fry it, but we're gonna get a nice little layer of oil in there so it'll crispen up really nice and give us a good color on that fish. Stir these grits right quick. Oh yeah, they're thickening up. So you want your grits to be nice and thick, right? Grits should be able to be eaten with a fork. So we're gonna turn those down because we're gonna do something special to those grits on the backside before we plate them all up, all righty? So, our grease is hot. Now we're gonna lay in this fried fish. Oh yeah, I love that sizzle. That's how you know things are happening, baby. All right, so we're gonna get a nice golden brown on both sides of that fish. We rinse out our food processor, because on the next step, what we're gonna do, we're gonna take these grits from good to great. And how we're gonna do that, we're gonna make these grits some red pepper cheese grits to go along with our fish. All right, need a little bit more time. Cool. So in our food processor, now I'm using some canned roasted red peppers. You can fire roast your red peppers, but you want definitely cooked red peppers and puree them up. And we're gonna fold these red peppers into our grits with a little bit of vegan cheese as well. Oh yeah, they're looking nice. Get a nice good browning color on this fish. It's definitely giving fish. All right, now we've got our red pepper puree. We'll fold that red pepper puree right on into our grits. So I'll embark it with some of that red pepper flavor, as well as change the color a little bit. And we'll let this continue to cook on down and let those grits absorb some of that good flavor. That fish is smelling good, though. Smell like we're at the fish fry and your uncle waiting with the piece of white bread so he can put the hot fish on the plate. Brown just a little bit more. All right, now let's talk about these grits. Stone ground grits is going to give you a better, little thicker mouthfeel on the granule of the grits. Add in this red pepper puree. Give it some of that red pepper flavor. Now we're going to fold in some plant-based cheese. You can choose whatever type of cheese that you would like to fold in. Plant-based cheese. Cheesy grits, baby. We'll let that cheese melt down into those grits. Now, everybody's trying to get into plant-based cooking. Sometimes you don't know where to start. This is an easy, simple recipe with simple ingredients that you can find in your local grocery stores and make a delicious plant-based meal. And tastes just like some of your favorites. All right, this is done. We're going to take this off the heat. Cheese is melting in these grits. All right. Yes, sir. So we got a vegan spin on a Southern staple. Let's plate this guy up. Get some of your grits. See how thick those grits are? Nice and thick. The smell of that cheese and the roasted red peppers is coming off of this really nicely. All right. We're going to add on our fish fillet. And a little bit of fresh parsley on there. Here we go. We've got our vegan fish and grits with heart of palms and roasted red pepper grits.